Disenchantment. Esther, in her introductory remarks, invoked the name of the great German sociologist and social historian Max Weber, and the phrase, the disenchantment of the world, is most often associated with Weber. In a famous lecture of his entitled Sciences of Vocation, he declared that we live today in a disenchanted world, by which he meant that the gods and belief in the gods or in God has become an entirely private matter, has disappeared from the realm of commonly accepted norms and public life. He was perfectly aware that there are still many professing believers, churchgoers, but Weber thought that the deepest tendencies of our entire civilization were pressing in the direction of pushing God further and further and further into the recesses of private life, where one might choose to believe or not. Mm-hmm. And he recommended a kind of stoical resignation in the face of that fact. He said, God has vanished. You may believe or not, that's up to you, but as a public matter, gone, gone, gone. You got to suck it up and accept that fact as your fate. And for a long time, in my 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, I said, that's right. And I can live a stoical life of that kind. And then it just stopped working for me. And the reason it did, I think I can put very simply, it became clearer and clearer to me that the meaning of my life, the meaning of my commitments, my attachments, of my vocation, my worldly vocation, couldn't for me be ultimately secured in a way that would be entirely satisfying and personally convincing unless I could relate all of that, my life, to something that is not touched by time. The word for that is eternity, but it's a word that isn't often used, well, certainly at the Yale Law School these days. But I came to believe that unless I could work out for myself an understanding of how my life and all that it contains is connected to something that never comes into being and never passes away, but endures, as Scripture says, from age unto age, unless I could work all of that out for myself, though in the end, in non-scriptural terms, that I really wouldn't be at home in my life, let alone in the world. And so that's why I was moved to sit down and think things through from the start and write the book that I did.
Tim?
Yeah, I also thank you for bringing me here, though it's not fair to call us two intellectuals. Tony is a real scholar. I am a popularizer of scholarship. That's what a good preacher does, actually. But I'll tell you, as time goes on, we're going to see that Tony's understanding of the character of God and mine as an Orthodox Christian minister is different. But here I'm happy to join with him in the critique of the idea that there's nothing outside of time. I guess you could call it secular materialism. It would be the idea that not only is there no God, but there's actually no transcendent aspect to reality at all, which is what the ancient pagans and Eastern religions believe. There's no transcendent aspect. Everything is time. It's in time, and therefore everything has a physical, material cause, a scientific explanation, if you will. That view, I also agree completely, has got huge problems. You may not know that if you're walking around Yale, studying here, but there are some problems. I'll be a little less personal and say here's two. The one is actually the question of moral value and moral norms. The secular approach, there's nothing but time, essentially says that there is no moral source outside the self for any moral values or norms. So all moral values are either culturally constructed, socially constructed, or they're products of our evolutionary biology, or they're a personal choice. But there's no eternity, there's no cosmic, there's no basis for values outside of myself. Now, what that does in the end is to say, I think, that the good, the true, and the beautiful, the old transcendentals, are really, there's no way to determine them other than you just determine them for yourself, which means there's no way to have a conversation. The good ends up becoming what the majority who has all the power say it is. And there's no way to even have a conversation. There's no higher moral ground. You can't say, I'm trying to do everything I can to be in unity here with Tony at this point. You can't say with the Greek philosophers that there is a true and a good and a beautiful beyond time, and that through contemplation and discussion we can discern it. No, basically the good is whatever I say it is. Ultimately, the good is a matter of belief, I would say. It's not a matter of empirical reason. So it creates a huge problem. We're having it right now in our society. There's no ability for us to talk, just to yell, just to have power blocks say, this is what I say the good is, and there's no way to even have a discussion, nothing to appeal to, because there is no source, a moral source outside the self. The second has to do with the meaning, and let me I agree completely with Tony. Let me just add another approach to it. Mm-hmm. If there's no meaning outside of time, then you're going to have to find your ultimate meaning in something here like success or money or even family or love. You're going to have to build all of your ultimate meaning will have to be something inside this life. All of your meaning in life will have to come from something inside this life, and this life will take all those things away eventually. All of those things away. I read an anthropologist some years ago who said the secular culture gives its members fewer resources to deal with suffering than any other culture in history. And here's the reason why. Every other culture, which was a religious culture in some way, always said the true meaning of a human life is something outside of time, just what Tony just said. So if you're a Hindu, the meaning of life is to live a life so that you can eventually get off the cycle of reincarnation and get into eternal bliss. If you're a Buddhist, the meaning of life is to overcome the illusion of this world. If you're a Jew or a Muslim or a Christian, Orthodox, you think the key is to please God and to be with God forever. In other words, suffering in every other religion, every other culture, can actually enhance your meaning in life. It can drive you, suffering can actually drive you more into it. If your real meaning in life, frankly, is the love of God and to please God, and you've gotten onto the treadmill of success, and something happens financially and you have a failure, that can drive you more into the real meaning of your life, which is to please God, not to become successful. But if you don't have anything outside of time, frankly, suffering destroys your meaning in life in a way it doesn't in any other culture. Yeah, in the end, there are huge problems with living in a disenchanted universe, and Tony and I agree that it doesn't really work. That in the end, even though we're being careful and saying it can work for a lot of people for a while, it doesn't work for us. Being a good Christian minister, I'd go so far as to say it's not true. The universe is enchanted. And to live in a disenchanted universe is not only not functional, but you're out of touch with reality.